What's up, Warriors fans, and welcome to Warriors Latest. As always, I am your host, Max Arizin. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoyed the show today, as I do post new Warriors videos daily. Now, today, I gotta say, I got a feeling of just, damn, I was right, because Mark Stein confirmed that Seth Curry is basically going to sign with the Dubs this time next week, or whenever the Jonathan Kuminga situation gets resolved. And I gotta say, it's good feeling right. And it's good to know that going into this season, we're going to have a legitimate second powerhouse from three with Seth Curry along his brother Steph. Now, I thought he was in the 40s, I like the low 40s, like 41 or 42% from three last year. He was over 45% from three. And I'm not 100% certain, but I know that's very close to what Steph is, or Steph was, excuse me. But that's just something I love to see because I remember, like during that Timberwolves series last year, we couldn't hit water falling out of a boat from three. Whether it was Moody, whether it was a Kuminga, whether it was Jimmy, whether it was Buddy Hield, whether it was Pods, it did not matter. We could not have hit a three. I even saw Draymond taking some threes last year or during that series. I'm like, ugh, we're doomed. But now that we have an actual second three-point shooter to go along with Steph, reviving the new version of the Splash Brothers with the actual brothers, which is ironic, I am very, very happy about that. And I can breathe easier knowing that if Steph's guarded, say, by a Men Thompson during a playoff series, or say, God forbid, Kelly Oubre, he locks him down like Kelly Oubre did against Jalen Brunson in 2024. We know we have a guy we can quickly pass to who'll put it up and then get that three. And they won't double team Steph as much when something just as dangerous is playing at the other side of the wing. So good news there. But with him on, we know we have it's him, it's Seth, it's Gary Payton the second, allegedly DeAnthony Melton's coming back, along with what's his name, Al Horford, and possibly the two draft picks that were picked this past year. But I think one's going to be a draft and stash, and like Will Richard is probably going to go into the G League. So I don't know if he's going to be good enough to get that two-way spot, but Tui might either stay in the NBL or he'll take that second two-way spot, go back and forth between Santa Cruz. But again, with all those players, the Warriors still have that big issue, and that issue is that size. Like thinking about it, Quentin Post is still the only guy who's 7 foot or above on that roster. And I think once the Kuminga situation really gets resolved, and it's going to be before the first, because everybody's going to report they're going to know the team. But once that situation is resolved, everything is going to go fast. And it makes me wonder, now that we know Seth is on board, like it's 100% he's probably going to do a 2-year deal. The rest of the roster, Pods, Moody, Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton, should he sign? Gary Payton II, should he sign? Along with Seth, that's six guys under 6'5", or yeah, six guys under 6'5", and I'm sorry, but in this league, I appreciate the depth. Like I know depth is a good thing, but the lack of size is still going to kill us long term if we go deep into the playoffs. We face again the Rockets, the Thunder, even the Nuggets perhaps, or if Cooper Flagg really kicks ass and takes names, he could be leading the Mavericks to the playoffs as well. I know we could probably take the Lakers, but I'm not 100% confident. But this is why I'm starting to think, it's like, okay, we got the guy, we got Seth, he's on board for what we're trying to do with this last dance thing. Let's maneuver to see if we can get more pieces for Kuminga and less worry about the draft capital. And I know I said this before, but I think this signing is really what pushes it over the edge to knowing it's like, okay, we got to get ready. We're a week away from training camp. It starts a week from now, actually. And we got to know where this is going. And I think both Mike Dunleavy as well as Joe Lacob would be like, all right, push is coming to shove. You win, we're trading you somewhere else. I think they'll get the likes of Nick Richards and Royce O'Neal, and then maybe Ryan Dunn for less draft picks, so they have that depth. Or even just deal Moody and Buddy Hield for Nikolai Vucevic, which I really hope does happen. As you guys know, I love to talk about him. I think he's great, and he's the perfect last dance guy to set those picks for Steph and Seth to get those quick threes off. And I believe with Seth at the other corner, it's like you could set those picks and Curry could be double teams. Like, boom, Seth puts it up, easy three, back on defense. So I think it's more likely than not it's happening. So we're a week away from training camp. Thank God for that. And thank God we know the Kuminga situation is likely going to resolve. But it still frustrates me because we lost a couple more guys to the Kuminga standoff. And that was both Amani Bates as well as Thomas Bryant. And Thomas Bryant, I could sort of get over because he was on a one-year deal with the Cavs. But I'm not going to lie, Amani Bates stings, man. I mean, I'm glad he's going to the Sixers, and hopefully he'll get that shot. But this is just me personal thing for Amani Bates because I think he has such great potential. And when you're the number one or the preseason pick to go number one overall in the 2022 draft, and then you fall all the way to the point where you're a free agent at, 21 years old? I mean, there's something to be said there. A lot of these guys, they have a few bad years, but their potential is still there. Even in college, you could still make this guy come up and be something. And I think the Warriors had that perfect opportunity to do that and really become like a team that develops him and helps him to that next section of his career. And maybe he becomes a star, maybe he doesn't. But I'll look at the good part of this. Them bringing in Amani Bates, and if he does well in preseason and makes the roster, there's some other guys that are more likely than not going to be dealt off that team. Speaking of that, it's probably going to be Kelly Oubre. And if Oubre is going to be dealt, I do see the Warriors, again, taking advantage of that. So it's going to be nice for the Warriors to really fill the roster out. Now, we know we've got a guy that can actually shoot the three at like a very high percentage with Seth Curry. So I'm definitely happy about that. And it's going to push the team in other directions. But those misses do sting, especially with Amani. So I wish him the best of luck with the Sixers. And I really do hope he makes that regular season roster, pushes Oubre to the Warriors for that trade exception. And then, you know what, maybe I'm right. Maybe he does become an all-star. So I'm really hoping things go well for him down in Philly. But the bottom line is, at least we know, like, regardless of who we've lost because of this Kuminga standoff, at least with 7 days to go, we can breathe easy knowing that it's almost over. I mean, ever since this whole thing started, we wanted things to just sort of, we hoped things would work themselves out. The Warriors would work a good deal, and then they would sort of figure it out. It's like they know early on, it's like, is this guy really going to be that guy? Because we're going into that last dance mode for the next 2 years. Is he going to be that guy who does that last dance? And it makes me wonder, who's the guy responsible? Was it more Dunleavy or was it more Lacob? I mean, after that meeting in Miami between Lacob and Kuminga, I think at a certain point, a good owner has to know, okay, you want to be here or you don't want to be here? And he's like, you know what? Do you want me here? And you got to ask that question. It's like, do you want a guy like Kuminga on the team? He has that talent, but does it fit with what you're trying to go for in the near future? Because once the calendar turns June or July of 2027, it's game over for the Warriors. Let's be honest, it's time to go into full rebuild, and everybody is a free agent. So that's the way I look at it, and it's honestly going to happen. But these decisions should have taken care of themselves during the summer, and you know what? I think this is a detriment to both the front office as well as ownership, saying, all right, we're indecisive. And that's not a good look for future free agents or future draft picks that do come into the Warriors. Because the Warriors have a lot of their own draft picks like that they still have. They haven't traded away that much. So they could still use that in a trade down the line, but it's up to ownership and the front office to actually show that they know what they're doing. And though things are going to be resolved with Kuminga in the coming days, the fact that it went this long, and even though we're getting good role players, the fact that it went this long, it's just annoying as a fan. So let's get that done. We have Seth Curry, him coming on the roster. Let's trade Kuminga for depth pieces and just be done with it. Now that's all we have for Warriors Latest. As always, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you enjoyed the show. And if you have any just depth trade ideas for Kuminga, feel free to comment below, as I do love hearing your ideas. And as always, go Dubs.